Today we're going to talk about why overhead pressing, and I'm going to show you the difference between overhead pressing the green and the red ultimate sandbag and the orange or bigger ultimate sandbag. Okay, so why overhead pressing? So just to get clear on what we're talking about here, an overhead press looks like this. And you can do it with sandbags, you can do it with kettlebells, you can do it with barbells. Now, why do we want to practice pressing? So first of all, pressing is a primary human movement pattern. It's one of the things we do with our arms. We press vertically and we also press horizontally. So that in and of itself should make it a thing that we all practice. But why is it so great for runners and people who want to prevent injury? Why is it so great for athletes to practice overhead pressing? Now, when I overhead press a sandbag, most people look at that and they go, that's a shoulder exercise. And it does look like a shoulder exercise, and you are using the musculature that surrounds the shoulder, fair enough. But people don't actually fail overhead pressing because their shoulders fail. They fail because their core fails. Their core isn't stable enough to get that overhead press. So why is it a core exercise? Well, if you watch me take the ultimate sandbag here and press it overhead, you can see that I'm bringing the center of mass of the bag far away from my body. And the hard part for my body here, the challenge, is resisting any sort of micro movements. So by creating that long lever arm, I essentially challenge more of the muscles that surround my spine. You can also see this with an arch press here. If I take the small ultimate sandbag and I press it over my head, it's not hard for my shoulders, but my spine has to resist that side-to-side motion. So while yes, pressing looks like a shoulder exercise and does challenge the shoulder, the real challenge is to the core. And when we create more core stability, we're going to get more better athletic performance, we're going to have fewer injuries, and we're going to be happier people. Now, what is the difference between pressing these two bags and this bag or bigger? So the big difference is the dimensions of the bags. So if I'm going to overhead press a force bag here, the cool thing is because this bag is so long across, I can flip it onto my fist and I can press it overhead and I'm in a really great position there. But that actually changes when we get to the smaller bags. So if I were to overhead press this bag the same way, can you see how my arms and my hands are much closer together so that when I press up, everything is just kind of more cramped? Well, it is too cramped. And in fact, if your hands are too close together when you go to overhead press like that, you actually put your shoulder joint at risk. And that's why the creator of the ultimate sandbag did a really smart thing, which is he put handles on the outside of the sandbag. So now, instead of doing a clean to fist, you can grab the outside and press up and pull apart a little at the top and come back down. And that keeps your shoulders in a nice neutral position. Okay, so maybe you're a runner and you're thinking, okay, Ben, like that's cool, I'm gonna get stronger shoulders and a stronger core, but how is that really going to translate to better athletic performance? So if you're not sold on just more core strength helping you out, you should be sold on how you can incorporate pressing with lower body movements to really create more challenge to the core and to the lower body at the same time. So I'm going to show you something I've been working on lately, which is a back step lunge with an overhead press. So I'm going to grab my force bag here. I'm going to flip it onto my fist because it's a longer bag. And now as I step back, I'm going to overhead press and come back. And this might look a lot easier than it is, but I can promise you this is super difficult because it's creating a tremendous challenge to my core while I'm inside a lunge. And if you can do something like this, you're going to be a lot stronger when you're running. Because when you're running, your body's gonna feel like, oh, running's not nearly as challenging to my core as that kind of lunge was. So when you learn the basics of overhead pressing, the cool thing is we can add it to other moves and we can really create more dynamic movements that translate to better movement outside of weight training. Hope you guys like this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.